consequences in 2014. Nobody talks about Crimea anymore. If Russia goes further with this invasion, we stand prepared to go further with other sanctions. What are you going to do, Joe? There's not a thing that Joe Biden can do. And this is the sad part of all of this to me. You know, they're trying to act tough. And there's nothing tough about what Joe Biden is doing. And I look at all of this. I'm going to play a tape at the bottom of this half hour of Donald Trump with NATO in 2018 beating the crap out of NATO and how much the United States is paying for security for all NATO-aligned countries. We're paying the bulk of the bill to protect them from Russia, and then they're going and making Russia and Vladimir Putin rich again by buying all of Vladimir Putin's oil, which is everything that I was telling you yesterday, which was at the heart of all of this. You know, Trump instinctively knew, and he did not stop. It was 5 straight minutes of a beat there. He pulverized these people and said, this is not going to stand. You're going to pay your fair share. You're going to stop making Putin rich again. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going into the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. How stupid is that? If the whole purpose of NATO is for us to help secure you from your perceived enemy of Russia, or real enemy in real life. And he was right. Just like he was right when he said, watch out for this guy Osama bin Laden. You know, it's, you know, now Putin is out there, you know, calling it a peacekeeping mission. No, it's not. It's an invasion. And now he's going to take the world's temperature. He's only going to see weakness, and it's only going to embolden him. You know, there was then candidate Biden that said, Vladimir Putin doesn't want me to be president, doesn't want me to be your nominee. If you're wondering why, it's because I'm the only person in this field who's ever gone toe-to-toe with him. You know, when I look at, I am predicting China will take Taiwan, and I don't think the world will do a thing. I'm predicting that Putin will go further into Ukraine, and maybe even beyond that. I can't say for sure. You know, Putin watched as Biden refused to hold China accountable in any way for COVID, crackdown on Hong Kong, and nobody's held China responsible for their hostile, you know, their fighter jets flying into Taiwan airspace day in and day out. You know, Putin watched as Biden lifted sanctions that allowed the waiver for the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. How stupid is that? I mean, you know, he announced his intentions back on July 12th, as I told you yesterday. Russian troops and equipment have been amassing forever. And people say, no, he just wants to use it for leverage. I'm like, well, maybe you're right. I tend to doubt it. Because Putin never acknowledged that Ukraine was even a country. You know, Moscow, by the way, one of the ambassadors said to Sweden, yeah, we don't give an atom shit about sanctions. They don't care. Because now, by Joe Biden artificially reducing the world's supply of energy, that has jacked up the price to nearly $100 a barrel of oil. That has now made Putin rich again, and it has pushed our Western European and NATO allies into Putin's arm because they need his oil. And we should be outproducing Vladimir Putin because we've got more natural resources than he does. And unfortunately, it is Joe Biden that blocked the Keystone XL pipeline while he gave the waiver to Vladimir. He put drilling efforts in Alaska and more on a permanent hold. He disrupted all new exploration and development auctions in the entire country. He suspended new exploration on federal lands. He hurt American liquefied natural gas production by lifting sanctions of the Nord Stream 2. You know, it's at this point in time, what do you think inflation is mostly being caused by? Joe Biden's economic and energy policies. What has emboldened and enriched Vladimir Putin? Joe Biden's economic and energy policies. You know, how many of you know the United States import in 2021, Joe's first year as president, 232 million barrels of oil. Guess where we got it from? Anyone want to guess? Linda, where did we get it from? 232 million barrels of oil. You want
Under Trump?
No, 2021. Where did we import 232 million barrels of oil from?
From Russia.
Russia, yeah. And in Europe, you know, a third of Germany's gas comes from Russia. We have more natural resources, but he's beholden to the higher. That's why we're in a 40-year high of inflation too. It's good for national security. It's good for economic security. It's good for job creation. It's good to reduce inflation. He's not going to do any of these things. Maybe politically I should be happy. And Kamala, what an embarrassment. Oh my gosh. It was humiliating this weekend. All right, if you could lower one thing, I'll tell you right now. Goldman Sachs is predicting we may have as many as 7 interest rate increases this year. They had been predicting 3 or 4. Bottom line is already interest rates are creeping up. If you have not taken advantage of these low rates, talk to the mortgage experts. You get a free mortgage consultation at our friends at AmericanFinancing.net. No obligation whatsoever. You might be able to save hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars a month, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your loan. It's a call. No obligation at all. No cost whatsoever. Call now, 866-615-9200, 866-615-9200 on the web. It's AmericanFinancing.net.
American Financing, NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Holders Total Security. Find them at holdersecurity.com.
We're getting you up to speed with the 3 big things you need to know every 15 minutes.
3. A state Senate committee passes 5 anti-abortion bills. 2. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt unveils new plans for the state's turnpike system. 1. A winter storm watch is in effect tomorrow morning through Thursday afternoon. I'm April Hill.
1023 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk with the 3 big things you need to know every 15 minutes.
You know, inflation of the current administration is at a 40-year high. Everything we buy is more expensive. Gas, cars, groceries, housing, cost of living increases. Guess what? It's killing so many Americans' finances, which is why you need to find areas in your life where you can save money, and your wireless bill is one of them. You're still with the big carriers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. They are overcharging you for the exact same service you could be getting from Pure Talk for a fraction of the cost. That's why I'm a customer, and you should be also. And listen to this, the more lines you have, the more you're going to save. Right now, you can get 4 lines, talk, text, data, for just $64. And that's not per line, that's total. That's how the average family saves nearly $1,000 a year. So, how much would you save? Just take out your cell phone, pound 250, say the keyword save now, and this month you'll save an additional 25% off your first 3 months. Pound 250 on your cell, keyword save now from our friends at Pure Talk.
Dr. Gorka here, and I want to talk to you for a minute about 100% drug-free Relief Factor. I've been taking Relief Factor for years now to help me deal with pain in my body. My wife takes it as well. The reason we tell everyone we know about it is simple. We found it really works to help our bodies fight off the inflammation that causes aches and pains. Whether it's the pain of injuries you sustain or just the natural pain from the mileage over the years, Relief Factor can help. I've never looked back. Almost 70% of the more than 500,000 people who have tried Relief Factor end up ordering more. That's because it works for them the way it works for me. Isn't it time for you to get out of pain? Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick start for the discounted price of only $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference.
This is 1023 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk.
An F3 tornado can reach 200 miles per hour, enough to overturn boxcars and demolish mobile homes. An F4 tree
saying we're going to act together and we're going to put more sanctions. This is a violation of international law. Do you think who cares what Joe Biden thinks? He doesn't care. You know, we're going to put sanctions on sovereign debt. That means that if the Russian government wants Western financing, he doesn't need your financing, Joe, because your energy policies made him richer than he's been in 20 years. Great job. So it's not going to matter. And where are you going to get the 268 million barrels of oil that you got last year from Russia? If you put all these sanctions, maybe he says, you know what, the hell with you. I'm not going to do a thing. OPEC has already turned you down, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 times already? In terms of saying no to increasing oil production as a means of reducing the price. And Joe Biden, his party will not let him go back to the energy policies he inherited. We were energy independent. We were net exporters of energy. And that's just not going to happen. European natural gas futures, especially sensitive to the latest news, they jumped nearly 15% today. It's not good. By the way, Michael Bloomberg is warning the Democrats are headed for a wipeout in November unless an immediate course correction is implemented. And we all know that's not going to happen. You know, it's sad, Biden saying, well, we're not going to be able to get you out of Ukraine if you get trapped behind enemy lines. And now we have nonprofit groups stepping up. There's a combat veteran, a guy, I don't know who he is, Brian Stein, co-founded a project to rescue Americans left behind in Afghanistan. Now they're switching to Ukraine while they still have maybe a fighting chance to get people, Americans, out of there. And I'm going to tell you something. This never would have happened under Donald Trump. And when we play this tape after the news at the bottom of the hour, you will fully understand the difference between a cognitively aware and up-to-speed president versus this guy who's a complete and utter cognitive mess that probably doesn't know today's Tuesday.
Remember today, you listen to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Live team coverage starts now. We're about to get precipitation, along with bitter cold temps.
We have live tension report. It's westbound on the Keystone, Sand Springs area, around 25th West Avenue.
At 2:30, we have mostly cloudy skies and 30 in Tulsa. From the KRMG 24-hour Fox News Center, I'm April Hill with team coverage of our top local story. The KRMG Storm Center is ready to activate in case of tomorrow's wintry mix.
The wintry mix is moving in tomorrow. Right now, it looks like Tulsa will be mostly sleet with a little freezing rain. More likely to see freezing rain as you head to the southeast. Thursday, round 2 moves in. We'll see another round of sleet developing, and then a chance of freezing rain and or snow mixing in. It's going to end as we get to Thursday afternoon. And just for insult, one more chance of light wintry mix Saturday afternoon.
Fox 23 and KRMG Chief Meteorologist James Ayla. President Joe Biden today announcing sanctions on Russia in response to their recent military action in Ukraine. President Biden in a speech today says it's the beginning of Russia's invasion.
We still believe that Russia is poised to go much further and launch a massive military attack against Ukraine. Hope I'm wrong about that. Hope we're wrong about that. But Russia is only escalating its threat against the rest of Ukrainian territory.
Biden says these sanctions are just one of many to come if the situation gets worse. A man is recovering after a hit-and-run crash that happened right after he was in a minor wreck with another vehicle. It happened just before 2 a.m. near 45th and Riverside. Tulsa police say the victim and another person were standing outside of their vehicles after crashing into each other when a driver swerved, hitting the victim. Officers say the suspect drove off and actually crashed about a mile away. Police arrested him for felony hit-and-run and suspicion of driving under the influence. Fortunately, the man who was hit wasn't seriously injured. Tulsa's most accurate and dependable 5-day forecast. The 3 big things you need to know, and Sean Hannity has reaction on what's happening with Russia and Ukraine next.
The KRMG Morning News with Dan Potter.
The man in charge of Homeland Security has become the target of a campaign designed to force his resignation. Helping lead the charge in that effort is Oklahoma Congressman Kevin Hurd.
Brian Kilmeade.
If they do invade after all this diplomatic work, the message to China is going to be, go ahead and do Taiwan.
Mark K. Sean Hannity. The KRMG Evening News with Skylar Cooper.
Here's what you need to know. Your bill's going to go up by $4 from PSO, and that's going to last 20 years. There's really nothing you can do about it.
Listen live on the iHeartRadio app. Download it for free on iPhone or Android.
Beautify your home at Interiors Designer Co-op. Whether you're an interior designer, art lover, or treasure hunter, you'll love browsing the unique furnishings and one-of-a-kind decor. New and consignment at Interiors Designer Co-op. A Midtown gym at 31st and Harvard.
Hello, this is Congressman Kevin Hurd. Inflation has skyrocketed over the last year. reaching its highest level since the 80s as a result of unprecedented federal spending. My work in Congress is centered on common sense measures to cut spending, empower job creators, and alleviate the financial burden on American families. That's why I'm writing a budget for the federal government that will balance in just a handful of years. To learn more about my work in Congress, visit earn.house.gov.
This ad is paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The top wildlife, western, and landscape artists from across the country bring their visions to life at the NatureWorks Art Show and Sale. Don't miss this rare opportunity to purchase beautiful paintings, sculptures, and wooden carving at this prestigious event. The only place you'll find these one-of-a-kind masterpieces. 30% of each sale supports the development and conservation of Oklahoma's natural habitats. NatureWorks Art Show and Sale. New location for 2022 at the Tulsa Marriott in Southern Hills, February 26th and 27th. For more information, visit natureworks.org.
Elise and Carl needed a small business loan.